What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another interview edition of Learn Crypto. My name is Nick Hellman, and today we have with us Anthony, the co-CEO of the Phore platform, which is striving to deliver blockchain technology to the real world. How are you doing today, Anthony?
I'm doing really good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Glad to have you on here on the weekend. It means you're hard at work.
It's good to be here. Yeah. Well, crypto never stops.
Exactly, 24/7. So before we get started, guys, make sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe. And all of the relevant links as far as Phore's website and their Twitter account will be in the description below as usual. If you gather some interest here in the project, I definitely recommend you going over there and doing your own research, digging a little bit deeper. I wanted to have Anthony on here because I believe some of their projects are interesting, and I really want to see if they solve a real-world problem and if they are viable for mass adoption. So I guess to start, Anthony, if you just want to give a brief background on yourself and why you really got involved with cryptocurrencies and the Phore blockchain.
Well, yeah, I got involved in crypto back in 2014 when I was doing some research and I was analyzing the whole market, actually. And since then, it's kind of snowballed into having a lot of interest in certain projects which are doing something, which are trying to actually make a change in the real world. And so I got involved with Phore around the tail end of 2017. And I joined helping with planning and partnerships. And then it kind of changed really quickly towards the end of the year. There were some changes management-wise. And then at the end of the year, there was an opportunity for me to come on board as co-CEO, which I took. So I've got previous board level experience in another industry, another field. So I thought I'd bring that to the Phore. I didn't mean to say that. I thought I'd bring that into play and see whether or not that kind of lateral experience could be useful. And it has been. I think getting organized and getting to where we are now, which is with a really important structure in place. This has come from my sort of other background. So yeah, I got involved. It's got to where we are now. We're in the sort of midst of a bear market, but it's still a pleasure to be involved with Phore every single day because we're a group of innovators and we're trying to have real world solutions.
So that leads me to my next question. PHR or Phore is a smaller market cap coin that many may not have heard of up until this point. So what is a brief overview? What is Phore blockchain?
Okay, well, Phore started off prior to being Phore. It was a coin called CryptCoin, which we did a one-to-one swap with and then became Phore. Now, CryptCoin was never an ICO. This is a really interesting fact that I wanted to get across. CryptCoin was community distributed from the start. Each person got one share, and it's grown through staking. So it's a very much community-facing coin as opposed to other coins out there. There's a great deal of trust in us because we're not holding 10, 15, $20 million worth of ICO money. And that allows us to actually innovate in a very interesting way. It allows us to, we've got a tighter budget. We are run by a community governance model. So those who hold masternodes can vote for the budget that we spend. It's very, very democratic. So that's something, again, which not a lot of coins or not a lot of projects actually have. So given you that's the structural background, we are building platforms on our blockchain. We have a decentralized marketplace, which I know you're going to ask me about. And we're also developing smart contracts, which I call they're enhanced smart contracts, what some people call blockchain 4.0.
Interesting. Yeah, I think the most important and impressive project so far within your ecosystem is that Phore decentralized marketplace. I really want you to tell us a little bit about that and, what's wrong with us just using eBay or Etsy? What is the problem you guys are trying to solve? And is the decentralized and private marketplace that you're creating, is that really viable for mass adoption? Like, how do you have buyer and seller protection if we're utilizing this marketplace?
That's very, very good questions. I mean, first of all, I'll deal with the Etsy and eBay question. Now, Etsy and eBay, there's nothing wrong with them in terms of that they're very solid, centralized organizations. You pay them a fee. They take a fee, and if you're happy with that, that's okay. But actually, when you look at it, the fees that they do charge as a seller, let's say, are huge. They really do have an impact on your bottom line. And you're spending, I think it's somewhere between 16%, I think, in fees in total, in order to actually just sell a project. Now, that's money that you could be using elsewhere. You can be using it to scale your business, but you can't. You're having to give it to them. So when it comes to Etsy, eBay, Amazon, you're doing the same thing. There's fees involved. And what I feel is that there is room, for a decentralized model where you are operating peer-to-peer. You're selling directly to the buyer. There's nobody in between you and the buyer, and you're able to actually cut costs in that respect. I think with that, our marketplace doesn't charge any fees. We really just want to connect buyers and sellers to the transaction, and I think things are getting tighter for a lot of people. So decentralized marketplaces, I believe, are the answer to those whose disposable income is getting eroded day after day, and to people who are trying to actually, build a business as well, because you need every single penny.
That is very true. Now that kind of leads to the secondary part of my question, and that is, how is their buyer and seller protection with the privacy features? I know Phore has optional privacy features. I do like privacy as a sector for cryptocurrencies, but how can you protect buyer and sellers if we're using privacy features and we're using it in cryptocurrency?
Yeah, but it's a very fair question. I mean, at the moment we're in open beta, so we're not fully launched, but we're tackling these types of issues and questions. At the moment, what we have is buyers and sellers who are not vetted in terms of, being that there's any mediation that's in place between anybody. We do actually, in open beta, we have taken people's details as buyers and sellers in order that we can, balance the issues that you've been talking about. But when we go into full release, it will be, pure peer-to-peer. I think that the whole industry is facing that question, if I'm being totally honest with you. I think we're in talks with a potential partner who offers a decentralized distributed mediation facility. And that's something that we may incorporate into the marketplace, because you then have people who have built up a reputation as mediators, and therefore if they step in their decision, if they keep making bad decisions, then their ratings go down. If they make good decisions, then their ratings go up. We haven't decided whether we'll use an external third-party model, whether we'll do it ourselves. But it's an answer which it's difficult to answer, because the open beta gives us these types of problems. Mm-hmm. And that, to be honest with you, we haven't had any of these problems yet in open beta where somebody has said somebody has taken my money and haven't given me anything. Because I think there's a really important thing to understand about peer-to-peer, and that is that you are responsible for your own actions. You can incorporate anonymous payments, but we're not actually advocating that you're totally anonymous in terms of being able to facilitate shady behavior. I think with peer-to-peer comes a sense of responsibility, where you're more responsible for your actions as a buyer or seller than you would be in a centralized system where there is a safety net underneath you. So I think we need to develop some knowledge as well on that side for users of decentralized products as to what their responsibilities are as a user, whether that's a buyer or a seller.
Yeah, and going back to kind of the, reward system or, a 5-star seller or whatever, that kind of already is in place with eBay. For example, I have an eBay store, so you do have ratings, and you probably get less sales if you have a lower rating. But the only thing is there is that little bit of safety net because of, PayPal. If you pay through PayPal, at least they could credit you back. And we'll just have to see how cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, what they can come up with to give those sellers that safety assurance. But like you said, in peer-to-peer, in this decentralized ecosystem, we are responsible for our actions. So you have to be a little more careful with who you interact with, what you're doing with your personal money, because you are being your own bank, essentially, with a lot of these coins. And I think the reward system and the transparency there, it can be something mimicked from eBay or anything else that has that seller rating already incorporated. So I think you guys should take a look at that.
I
Now,
think
I know.
it's something. Sorry, I just wanted to come back on that
Yeah.
very quickly. I think we're at the real birth stage of this type of technology and also these types of platforms. And I remember PayPal had a lot of teething issues when it first came out because it was doing something that nobody else was doing. And eBay as well struggled with deliveries and also struggled with some of the people on there who were selling on eBay because they had to work out after the fact how to stop people ripping people off. So when you're at the beginning of it, there's always going to be things like this. It's a challenge, but these challenges are really exciting because if you solve these problems, these issues, these challenges, then the rewards are huge for everybody concerned.
That is very true. Now, I know there's no fees, you're saying, on this decentralized marketplace. How does Phore as a company benefit, or how does the Phore blockchain or the users or community benefit if there's no fees there?
Well, I think from looking at how the platform is structured, you need Phore to be able to buy and sell sunglasses, for example. I know there's a very, very good sunglass vendor on the marketplace, and that means that there'll be more demand for Phore. And to be honest with you, that actually is of value to us, having Phore being known, being used, having a demand as a utility within this framework. That is much more valuable to us than generating fees, which then just place us against, as you say, Etsy or eBay or Amazon. We want Phore to be wanted, used, to be one of these coins that has a utility, a clear utility, in terms of its usage.
And you briefly mentioned, the dApps ecosystem that you're trying to create, where people can actually build dApps upon the Phore blockchain. Is the PHR token going to get a value proposition from that? Is there going to be some kind of constraints where you have to use Phore as the gas for this, kind of like Ethereum or Neo does? Or do you guys have any real idea of what you're doing with your protocol?
Yes, I mean it's in development, so I can't really talk too much in terms of detail. We want Phore to be the gas. We also will introduce atomic swaps, so other currencies can come into play as well. I think you can actually understand why we want Phore to remain at the center of this, as opposed to, putting Ethereum at the center of our dApps. It wouldn't make much sense. But I think Ethereum has a lot of really, really nice functionality and features attached to it, which we could be looking at to also incorporate. But the dApps and that area, I think is going to really surprise people because in terms of innovation, I think a lot of people go for this build it and they will come type scenario. But we're looking at something which can be used not just in enterprise or commerce, but also by the individual or the SME or the side hustle girl or guy who can utilize dApps or smart contracts in an everyday manner in order to engage business. So I think that, as I said, I can't really talk too much of it because it's an active development, and in a way we do want to surprise people with the breadth of what we're doing. But it's something which I think I will leave you with, watch this space.
Yeah. And that's something that interests me as I was looking deeper. I was looking at I do various interviews, Charles Hoskinson, John McAfee, a ton of different projects. And what I've been telling people is, yeah, we had the little bit of bull run. The market is what it is. But any of these coins that are striving to be a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency, they're going to have to compete with the big dogs. They're going to have to compete with Bitcoin, Litecoin, Digibyte, etc. And really what's interesting to me is these protocol tokens or these cryptocurrencies that are trying to create an umbrella of products in which their currency can be used. Because I truly believe that utilization, network utilization drives the network appreciation, and that is what is going to make any of these have value or a use case in everyday life. So that is why I think Phore is interesting, and it's kind of exciting. I know that the dApps ecosystem is very new, and you guys don't have much about it quite yet, but you have the marketplace there, and that kind of leads me to another thing. I've been looking into a project called Particle, the PART token, and your two projects look very similar to each other. And I was wondering if you're familiar with this competitor, how do you guys plan on differentiating for them? Do you think there's enough room in this sector for both of you to find success, or what's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think I know Particle very well. I've got a lot of respect for Particle. I think the stuff that they're doing is really, really good. Of course, I'm going to say what we're doing is better. Their marketplace is in beta, but I don't think, I might be wrong on this, I don't think you can actually buy and sell right now on an open basis where you can actually download the actual app and actually set up a store and start selling to the world. Might be wrong, may have changed. But I think with Particle, they're going after a different market. I think Particle and Syscoin are more direct competitors in terms of marketplaces. They're going for really big, scalable marketplaces where they draw in, big customers. People are selling yachts and they're selling houses. I'm not saying that we're not doing that, but as I said before, what I'm trying to do is get us to be known and used by everyday people who want to buy stocks, for example. That kind of day-to-day purchase is where we're looking at building our value chain. Of course, there are no limits to what you can sell, but we want this to be something that people actually see as being just there and being convenient and being really easy to use and about an everyday purchase.
And, some people are probably wondering, are they proof of work, proof of stake, what's going on? I know you guys are proof of stake, meaning your holders can get rewarded by hodling your token in a designated wallet, which then secures and verifies your blockchain. Could you provide some light and some insight on the token economics behind the PHR token as far as maybe ROI, how many coins you need to stake? And I know you guys do have master nodes as well. So what's really the incentive to get up to the master node price? Is there a higher ROI? Are master nodes going to have more responsibility moving forward? Do you know any of those details?
Yeah, I do. I mean, obviously, you define proof of stake really well. So with the wallet, you can stake with the wallet. There's no minimum amount, but we suggest 2004 will get you maybe 2 stakes a day, maybe 3, depending on each one. Will each one every day you'll get 2 or 3 stakes a day. With a masternode, you'll get more. The token economics are on the website. We have about 553 masternodes at the moment. So I think that gets you around about, trying to work this out, 10.3, 10.4 for a day, which is a reasonable amount. I think the ROI at the moment is somewhere between 36 and 38%, which isn't bad, considering. I mean, obviously with the new masternodes, you're going to get ROI in the thousands, or what you need to do is have a look at that and see what that means in a medium to long term, and see where they're going to really sort of end up.
Yeah, that's what I try to explain too. The massive ROIs, the 100, 200,000% is great, maybe for a short-term flip, but you guys need to look at the circulating supply, the total supply, see what that means for their longevity as far as inflation is concerned. And, once something reaches a total supply in a proof of stake network, you are then you're falling back on hoping that there's enough utilization as far as transaction fees to pay out for your stakes and masternodes, which in most cases, if there's not enough utilization, will not be enough incentive to keep people on that blockchain, and therefore that project might fade off into the abyss and might die. So that's why I really look at something in your target, 30 to 40 to 50%, depending on your circulating supply to total supply, is feasible for the longevity of the project, at least until, if we have 2, 3, 4 years before people start using cryptos, and then there's enough transactions going on the blockchain to incentivize the miners or stakers. I think that's very important. And you kind of started touching base on that right there.
Yeah, I was going to also say another thing to look out for is liquidity, because, it could be a really great ROI, but you can't sell it. You're stuck with coins because nobody's buying them. And that's something that a lot of people don't see. They look at the ROI and they say, this is great, but you have to look at the volume, you have to look at the liquidity to see, in terms of a 360-degree understanding of your investment in masternodes. So
you kind of already mentioned what the incentive is for masternodes. I noticed you had some partnerships on your website, including Unifox, which is an ATM and point of sale. They're kind of new. Redcoin, Stone Cash, and Platinum Circle. Do you have any upcoming development with these partners or utilization that you think people should be starting to get excited about?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Platinum Circle partnership is really, really important because that's a real world partnership. This is a partnership with government, business, wealthy, uber wealthy individuals. And I've just come back from a conference in Singapore. I was there over last weekend, actually. And some of the people that we met there were people that traditional crypto or blockchain companies wouldn't be in their reach in terms of meeting these types of people. So government ministers I met, and one company in particular that we're going to develop a partnership with directly from Platinum Circle. It's going to be a really, I can't really say too much because we're negotiating, but it's going to change a lot of things because they are a technology-based company who do work in the real world, and it's in the area of security, which obviously we know in crypto is can be lacking, and can be one of those areas which, to traditional investors looking at it, it's something which will be a red flag. They'll say, no, I can't do it. So we're going to develop a partnership with these guys, and it's going to actually really surprise people because this is going to actually legitimize and provide a level of safety that hasn't been there before in terms of using crypto. So that's really exciting. Platinum Circle absolutely was perfect. Unifox is really important as well because, again, all of our partnerships are driven by everyday use in the everyday world. So with Unifox and having ATMs and being able to draw out from ATMs around the world is very attractive to us. And Unifox are very good people as well.
It's really interesting. I need to, whenever I do these interviews, I'm always trying to get people to walk that fine line because you guys are still in partnerships and there's non-disclosure agreements, et cetera, that a lot of people probably don't understand exist in the real world and in business. When here in cryptos, kind of everything goes. But once we're starting to merge cryptocurrencies with the traditional finance, with the traditional world, and some of that regulation is going to have to start to come into play, as well as governance systems that each individual project decides upon. It sounds like Phore does have a governance system utilizing master nodes get to vote on that, so it maintains decentralization, which is really interesting. And I think that's another thing people need to start taking a look at is what projects have a governance system in place, or they're doing research and development on a specific governance system, because I think that is needed for the longevity of some of these companies, businesses, projects, etc. And the last partnership, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say, I think you're absolutely right, and I think we had to put in place. We've got a compliance officer. We've got legal counsel. We have all of this resource in place because this is where we're heading. We're heading towards where people are going to start looking at perhaps ICOs have taken in 20 million and they have no real connection with their community, except sometimes it feels like they're doing them a favor just by answering them on Telegram. We didn't have that, obviously, but we still do feel this responsibility to the community and allowing them to vote, to tell us which direction they feel we should be going in as an organization, because that's really, really important to us. And that's how you actually maintain loyalty and how you actually build a solid user base. And with what's coming with regulation, I think there might be some companies should be looking at how they're set up and how they're interacting with their community and how the community has a stake in their direction. I think it's going to be there's going to be some real strong looks into some companies going forward.
Yeah, and that's really sticking to the original vision of cryptocurrencies, where you're kind of giving power back to the people. You're maintaining decentralization for each individual governance system and monetary system that these projects all have. And the last partnership that I saw that you guys had and you guys just made was with Tour to Crypto. For those of you who do not know what Tour to Crypto is, essentially it is a charitable event. It's going to be a bike ride from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, ending up in the World Crypto Conference in Las Vegas, October 31st. If you want to give a little bit of an insight to why you guys decided to be a community sponsor, what you think is beneficial not only for Phore, but the entire crypto ecosystem as far as crossing non-for-profits and charities and starting to bring them into the crypto economy.
Well, I think it's important that we support organizations that are doing really good work. Organizations that are built and set up to bring good into people's lives. It's something which is not necessarily associated with crypto. It's sort of really cutthroat industry where, you know, bad things can happen in crypto and companies can disappear overnight. And I think it's very important that you ally yourself with this type of good causes and you show that there are other sides to it. Because if I talk to somebody who's not in this industry, they have a very negative view of cryptocurrency in general. And, you know, you can understand why in terms of the way it's been reported and, you know, the fall of Bitcoin and things like that. So I think it's important that people actually are given another page to look at. And they're going to be very visible for the crypto. They're going to be in the real world. Again, it ticks a lot of our boxes, even outside of the good cause element to it. So we decided to match every Phore that's actually donated with one Phore of ours up until 5,000. So if you put that together, we were going back to token economics. That will be a 10,000 amount going to the crypto, we hope, which is enough to set up a masternode, because masternodes you require 10,000 Phore to set up. And I feel that this is an income stream for many charitable organizations that they will get publicity of through for the crypto. And it's something where passive income they can earn, you know, from just setting up a masternode through a charitable venture like this could be something which is really useful to them and also to the beneficiaries of the funds.
Yeah, it's a donation that keeps on giving, and that's really interesting. You know, there's other sponsors, DigiByte, Red Coin's on there, Electra Coin, and others. Electra is a stakeable coin, but they didn't really mention that. They don't really have master nodes as of yet. But, you know, Phore is matching 5,000 Phore up to 5,000. So that means there would be enough for a master node, and that means that Hawk then could decide to hodl those Phore, participate on the network, and become a master node to get some residual income, or start stacking the Phore, and hopefully they can start participating in the ecosystem as well. You know, I know Hawk probably has their own store as far as T-shirts and awareness, and maybe they can be selling some of their T-shirts on the Phore decentralized marketplace moving forward. That'd be really interesting to see. So, I mean, we've covered a lot. Really talked about the token economics, what Phore is, what you guys have down the road, and the partnerships that may or may not lead to a successful future for you guys. Is there really anything that we missed that you really want to make sure to reiterate to this community and your community moving forward to kind of instill investor confidence and user confidence during these down times here for cryptocurrency?
Yeah, they are down times, but I mean, I think that it's the usual thing. It's the usual do your own research. You know, we encourage people to come and have a look around our community. We're on Discord. We're pretty. Maybe you can put a link up to our Discord link. And that's what I think is the way forward. You go and you use your instinct, you ask questions, you see what everybody's about, and I think you'll find a different community there. You'll find that the people who are, you know, working for Phore, you'll find that they've got a different approach, and they are very hardworking. They never give up, even in these times which are tough. There's a lot of people who, you know, have maybe slowed down their development. Ours has actually increased during this time. We're very highly motivated. We are ambitious, and we know where we want to get. We want to get to the very top. That's kind of all I have to say. But do your own research, and make up your own minds, and come and see us and see if we're a good fit for you.
Thanks for coming on here, Anthony. It was definitely interesting to get a better perspective of this privacy cryptocurrency that is really trying to create an ecosystem in which everybody can participate. They do have a governance in place. Maybe I'll have to take a deeper look at the decentralized marketplace. Maybe I'll start selling something on there, as I do have an eBay store. So maybe I'll start migrating over there. And guys, I'm going to keep looking into this. I'm sure we'll talk about this during the live shows. If you have any opinions, positive, negative, whatever it may be, make sure to leave it in the comment section below. And if it's a question, I'm sure Anthony or somebody from the team will try to answer it to the best of their abilities. So until next time, guys, stay tuned for your daily updates on cryptocurrencies right here at Learn Crypto.